So when it comes to comparison videos between Dragon Ball Super the manga and Dragon Ball Super the anime, usually people like to talk about the overall product. They like to discuss, the big differences, like what does the manga do that the anime doesn't, what does the anime do that the manga doesn't, and how do these things compare to one another. But you never really have people sit down and talk about like the specific character differences. It's always about the overall products versus one another, or in the case of some of videos like my own for the continuity / canon of Dragon Ball Super, it's about how the structure between them works and where they can fit into the existing Dragon Ball franchise continuity-wise. So I felt like doing something a bit different with a particular set of characters who do have similar. They have the same appearances, they have the same names, but the way Toyotaro and Toei like to present them, like to utilize them within the storyline, can be vastly different. And one of the biggest examples between the anime and the manga is the portrayal of Goku Black, the big surprise hit of Dragon Ball Super. In fact, I would go so far as to say that Goku Black is almost a good enough antagonist in the anime that he single-handedly warrants the existence of Dragon Ball Super itself. And this is coming from a guy who majoritively thinks that Super is just not a good show. It has some bright spots, it has some, good moments here and there, but I just don't think it's a good enough show to warrant its own existence. But Goku Black is almost good enough in the anime to single-handedly warrant this. And because I specify the anime over the manga, that should probably kind of spoil the ending of this video, but I'm going to explain why I feel like anime Black and manga is superior to manga Black. So they're both very much at their core, they're very similar characters. They're both Zamasu, who, because of various reasons, decided to take over Goku's body and use it as part of the Zero Mortals plan to basically wipe out mankind, or rather humanity, across the entire multiverse. And both of them have gone on to murder the various Kais of the multiverse, which in turn leads to the deaths of the various gods of destruction and their angels, and both of them are omnicidal maniacs. But the difference between the two of them is quite startling. It's actually really interesting to see how vague Toriyama's outlines are, so that you have two versions of the same character who are based largely on the same story, but they have quite a bit of differences between their personalities. The whole thing with Goku Black in the anime is that he's a smug super, as TV tropes would like to call him. He is always smiling. He's always confident in himself, even in his own abilities. He's always, feels like he's in control, that nothing anybody does can faze him. And even in the moments where something does take him by surprise, he never loses his composure. You always have this sense of control from him, that even if things are like going completely to hell for him, he's always going to have some kind of ace in the hole to pull things through. And this is one of the biggest draws of the character of Goku Black for the anime. Because in a lot of Dragon Ball and in a lot of anime in general, the villain, they tend to do this really annoying thing where the villain is very cocky, very confident in themselves until things start to go wrong for them, and then they just throw the mother of all bitch fits. This is very apt for Vegeta, for Frieza, for Cell, for Piccolo, for Super Buu, for Buu in general, except Fat and Kid Buu. And Goku Black isn't like that. When things go bad for him, he just keeps on smiling, he keeps on going, and he doesn't let anything really shake his resolve. And that's a stark difference to Manga Black, who is almost the exact opposite. Like Manga Black, it always feels like he's flipping shit over something. Like when Goku and Vegeta show up in the future, he like almost chokes on his coffee, and when he sees them, he's not excited to fight them. He's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And anytime something goes counter to his plans, he gets really pissed off, he gets really angry, and he just feels like a considerably more generic character in the manga just for this aspect alone. He doesn't really have that quality of smugness that makes him such a joy to watch in the anime, and that what makes him a subtle subversion of a lot of Dragon Ball villains that I already mentioned beforehand. And another element that's sorely lacking in the manga version in comparison to the anime is his weird obsession / respect for Goku. In the anime, Zamasu in Black's body has this simultaneous hatred and love of Saiyans and of Goku himself. And there are numerous instances where he praises Goku as like the finest warrior of the Saiyan race. He compliments the Saiyan body's ability to get more powerful. He does genuinely, in his own twisted and simultaneously hateful way, respect Goku, even though Goku was the mortal who humiliated him when he was still Zamasu. And this kind of dynamic between the two characters is what makes him even more fascinating, because you have an antagonist who is literally in Goku's skin, who knows what it feels like to kind of be Goku and wants to be more like Goku to succeed in his plans, but he also hates everything that Goku stands for. He hates Goku for being as powerful as a god. He hates Goku for humiliating him. He hates him for a whole bunch of other reasons. He hates the Saiyans because they're a vile warrior race, but he also respects them because they're a powerful warrior race. And this is an element that is completely missing in the manga. And I feel like the crux of the problem with the manga in this regard is that Zamasu doesn't really know Goku in the manga before he takes over his body. And the decision to remove Goku versus Zamasu in the manga works better for an overall better story structure, because one of the biggest problems of Goku Black's origin is that Goku and Zamasu have no reason to meet one another and fight each other without Trunks' intervention. And yet if Trunks intervenes, Goku Black can't exist. But Trunks can't go back to the past without Goku Black, and so his origin is just fucking nonsense and it doesn't work. The manga fixes it, but it also makes it a far less personal thing. And because these two haven't really interacted with each other without other characters constantly jumping in, like future Trunks, like Mai, like Vegeta, and now the Kaioshin, these two really don't have much going on between one another, and that makes Black in the manga a much lesser character for it. And there are other subtle nuances to Black between the versions, such as the fact that Black kind of has this smugness about him, and I already mentioned this beforehand, but he's kind of obsessed with like beauty, where he feels like he's like the ultimate god, he is the ultimate power, he's the most beautiful god of them all, and he kind of has this whole element of elegance to him, where the way he fights is very elegant, it's very kind of casual, it's very relaxed, and this works in conjunction with the whole smug super aspect, where Black, because he is simultaneously so casual and so smug, that makes him seem like even more in control of what's happening, even if shit is going bad for him. And that's one other element that makes him really, really compelling as an antagonist, especially a Dragon Ball one. In the manga, he's just kind of a brute. Like, in the manga, he grabs Trunks by the face, he bashes them into the wall, and then he just throws him around buildings. And like maybe Totaro is trying to like make it look more refined than it really is, but the way he draws it just looks like a generic thing Frieza would have done, or Cell, or Boo, where he's just pummeling Trunks into the dirt, and it doesn't really look any different than what his predecessor antagonists would have done. If you want to show Goku Black in the manga being a more refined, like, torturer, you don't have him, like, throw Trunks through a building. You have him, I don't know, use his sword to try and slowly cut Trunks' limbs off. Or you have him, like, surgically use his energy blade to, slice and dice Trunks' body up and to slowly, methodically torture him. Like, that would be a really good way to show off that Goku Black is more about elegance than just brute, raw destruction. And that's another element between the anime and the manga that doesn't work. And then this is an element that both the manga and the anime fuck up, and that is how Goku Black gets more powerful. I prefer the anime version, but they don't really explain how it works. So basically, the anime has this thing where Black gets more powerful the stronger the enemy he fights. And it seems like if he fights specifically Goku, he gets a massive increase in power. As we see in the anime, when he fights Super Saiyan 2 Goku, the next time we see him, he is massively powered up to where he can fight a restrained Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta in his base form. And this is a really good indicator that Goku Black, he does get a lot more powerful as he fights more opponents, but him fighting Goku is what lets him get better control of Goku's body. It's what lets him get more access to Goku's power, and that's a really cool concept. That's a really simple idea that works. The problem with the anime is that Goku Black has this weird invulnerability to pain. And that's not to say he doesn't get hurt. I'm not saying that. He obviously does get hurt several times in the story, but the problem is he miraculously heals from it. It kind of looks like he's either really... he can either take a lot of punishment and just ignore it, or he has some kind of healing factor, because there are several times where he just gets the living shit kicked out of him and it doesn't hurt him at all. He just, gets back up and he keeps fighting. And that could just be part of his smug super persona, where he is so confident in himself that he doesn't even want to show his enemy that he's in pain. He just wants to, keep his smug, outside persona to everybody else and even to himself. So maybe that's more like of a character thing and not a power thing. But when Goku beats the shit out of him, he's obviously hurt, and then he randomly isn't. He just powers up massively, and then he's not hurt anymore. Like Vegeta beats the shit out of him in Super Saiyan Blue, and then Black just gets back up like nothing happened, and then he just has the advantage once again. So that's a weird power thing where I just don't understand what the fuck is going on with this guy. I kind of wish they kind of made him immortal too, so that they could explain that, the more Black fights, the more powerful he gets, and because of his immortality, you can't really kill him. He just keeps getting more powerful the longer he fights, and because he's immortal, he can just keep fighting basically forever or until the opposition is defeated. The manga kind of does something that I'm not particularly keen on. It brings back Zenkai. And the idea of bringing back Zenkai is not necessarily a bad thing. It kind of works the same way with the anime's whole concept of the more powerful opponent Goku Black fights, the stronger he gets. But here's the problem. In the manga, there's nothing like that implies that Black needs to fight a specifically stronger opponent to power up. And because he uses Future Zamasu's healing ability to keep him going, it's really weird that he just doesn't let Zamasu almost kill him over and over and over again, and then just heal him to massively power up. There is one line where after he stalemates Vegeta as a Super Saiyan before his second Zenkai, where he says that Vegeta is on the perfect level to help him evolve. So maybe that's supposed to be an indicator of Zamasu only gets big Zenkai if he fights somebody really, really powerful. Maybe that's supposed to be how it works. But there's more evidence that points to it being just beat the shit out of him and heal him, and he's going to get really, really fucking powerful. And that's kind of a big plot hole, because why the fuck does Black need to fight anybody? He could just let Zamasu keep almost killing him over and over and over again before healing him to just power him up over and over and over again. And that is kind of a big problem I also have with the manga version, where it's trying to be more logical, but it doesn't really make any sense. And I don't know what Toyotaro is once again trying to convey there. Maybe he does have a definitive idea in mind that makes more sense than the anime ultimately, but he hasn't really done a good job of conveying the full picture of that idea and all the details within it. But there is one advantage Black Goku in the manga has over his anime counterpart, and that is the Zero Mortals plan. In the manga, it is blatantly stated that Black and Zamasu have only vaporized several planets in the 7th universe. They haven't really gone on a big rampage, and that's the big difference. In the anime, you kind of have this also big plot hole where they've apparently wiped out everything in the multiverse. So by the time Goku Black reaches Earth, it's implied that that's one of the final planets left in the entire multiverse. But here's the problem, and this is once again a power thing, not so much a character thing, but Goku Black in the anime gets more powerful the stronger opponents he fights. But if he's fought guys like Toppo and Jiren from the Pride Troopers, and he's fought Hit and Kaba and Frost, and he's killed them all, how the fuck is he only Super Saiyan 2 tier when, he travels back into the past to fight Super Saiyan 2 Goku at one when he, pursues Future Trunks back into the past. Shouldn't he have been able to, like, power up massively and maybe even attain Super Saiyan Rose already just by fighting guys like Hit and Kabe and Frost, and never mind all the other big, powerful multiverse fighters like the trio de Dangers? Like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, how can you wipe out literally almost the entire multiverse and then apparently get no power boost from it? And a lot of people like to use the whole, oh, Future Zamasu, took the brunt of the damage because he's immortal and he didn't want to risk Black's life. But here's the thing. Black, in both the anime and the manga, wants to get more powerful. He intentionally sometimes lets fights drag out just so he can get stronger and stronger and stronger. And so I don't think it makes character sense for Black Goku in the manga or especially the anime for him to just be like, yeah, buddy, you tank all that shit, you tire everybody else out, and I'll just pick them off and kill them afterward. Like, he might do that if the odds are completely against him and he has no fucking way of even surviving that if Future Zamasu doesn't jump in to help him. But I really just don't see Black sitting on the sidelines and just picking everybody off while they're tired when he can just, power himself up by fighting guys like Bergamo and the other strong opponents that are spread around the multiverse. And I especially think he would have fought Hit, because Hit is the guy who is able to take out Kaioken Blue Goku at ×10. And Zamasu in both the manga and the anime knows about him. So it's just really weird that in the anime, it was Black, Zamasu wouldn't just go, oh yeah, like I'm going to go after the guy who, beat the shit out of Goku and I'm going to power up from him. So I don't know why Black is only basically as strong as his Zamasu self when we first introduced to him, when the anime makes a big, deal out of the Zero Mortals plan almost being completed by the time the arc is over. So that is kind of a big fuck up when it comes to the anime. And it's not an overt one. Like, you can argue that they didn't really destroy most of the multiverse, but I feel like the way the arc plays out in the anime and some of the statements that they make about it, that it just seems obvious that the Zero Mortals plan is on the cusp of being completed by the time, Blue Vegito and Spirit Bomb Future Trunks show up. So yeah, guys, those are the differences between manga Black and anime Goku Black. Which version of the character do you prefer and why? As I've already stated, I'm a bigger fan of the anime version. There are some fuck-ups with him, but majoritively I feel like he's a better realized character and a far more interesting one in the anime than he is in the manga. And he's also far more effective antagonist in the anime than the manga, where he just kind of comes off as like a clown, an incompetent clown, who doesn't really feel like he's even the instigator of this whole mess. He feels just kind of like a pissed off lackey of Future Zamasu, and that's kind of not really the point of the character, and Toyotaro really dropped the ball with him. So next time I might do a video on Hit. There are less differences between the manga and the anime versions. They're mostly power-related ones, or I actually could do a video based around Future Trunks between the anime and the manga and how they utilize his character, where there are actually much bigger differences there and much more interesting ones to develop. So we'll see. I might do Hit, I might do Future Trunks, or I could leave it up to you guys. Which one do you want to see? A versus between anime Hit and manga Hit, or Future Trunks from the anime versus Future Trunks in the manga. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I articulated my point well enough for you guys to get the gist of it, and I'll see you later. Bye.